my name's Desiree, and in this video, I'll be going over the digestive system and just some organs and how food moves through the body and what is the cause of that. So first of all, let's go through the parts of the digestive system. So here is my very rough drawing of it. As you can see, we have what is called the accessory organs, and then we have the alimentary canal, which is actually what the food goes through. So we'll start with the accessory organs. So the accessory organs are the salivary glands. They secrete saliva and initiate carbohydrate breakdown. So they go like right into the mouth to help with that. Then we have the liver down here, which produce bile and emulsifies the fat. We have the gallbladder, which also stores and concentrates bile, and it releases it into the small intestine. Pancreas right here produces and secretes pancreatic juice that contains the digestive enzymes and bicarbonate ions, and then also releases it into the small intestine. So the accessory organs, food does not pass through these ones. They just help with the breakdown of food. Where food actually goes through is called the alimentary canal, and that's where we start with the mouth, which has the mechanical breakdown of food, and along with the salivary glands begins chemical digestion. So it mixes, it goes down into the pharynx, which connects the mouth with the esophagus. Pharynx plays a good part. It's just kind of helping bring everything through. It also kind of helps with making sure food goes down the esophagus and not into our windpipe and then into our lungs. It kind of helps. I mean, there's other factors that help that along with like the epiglottis and everything, but it kind of just helps give us another little area where we can make sure that doesn't happen. And then food moves down in through the esophagus, which uses peristalsis to push food into the stomach. And then in the stomach, I have a better picture. So in the stomach, we will secrete acid and enzymes to mix food with those secretions to begin the enzymatic digestion of proteins. So in the stomach, here's my better picture. Stomach, we start with the esophagus into the cardiac sphincter. The cardiac sphincter, the main function of that is to make sure we don't regurgitate food back up into the esophagus. And with somebody that struggles with GERD, be very lucky if your cardiac sphincter works like it should. Speaking of that, then that can also be called the esophageal sphincter. Just again, make sure that food doesn't come back up. Then that first area is called the cardia, the stomach. Then we have the fundus over here, the body, and then the pylorus down in here. And the pylorus connects to the duodenum of the small intestine, and what kind of regulates that is called the pyloric sphincter. Again, we just want to make sure as soon as food gets through all of that, it stays going in one direction and doesn't come back, just like with our veins having those valves. Back up here, then after the stomach, like I said, it goes into the small intestine, and in the small intestine, it starts at the duodenum, then goes into the jejunum, and then goes down into the ileum. The small intestine is held to the posterior wall of the posterior of the abdominal wall by the mesentery. And mesentery is it's another accessory organ. Like food doesn't pass through it. It's just main job is to hold our intestines in place, provide and supply those nerve endings that kind of stimulate our small intestines to keep food moving. And then after our food goes into the small intestine, that's where it mixes food with the bile that we got from the liver and the gallbladder. And it would be the final enzymatic breakdown of food molecules, and that's the main site of absorption. So our small intestine is actually pretty long, and in the small intestines, it's already kind of a jumbled mess in there, and it's even more jumbled if you think about it, because what lines the small intestines are called villi, and then it is lined with microvilli. So the villi and microvilli, their main job is to increase surface area of absorption. So it's making sure that even though we already have a jumbled mess in here, we have even more sites of absorption so that we can get adequate nutrition and try to soak up any kind of nutrition that we can get through the food that we eat. It's going to be the one that brings that in for us. And then after the food goes through the small intestine, it goes into the large intestine, which absorbs water and electrolytes to form feces. So we're going to start at the cecum, and that is going to be in our ascending colon. So I think that junction is called the ileocecal sphincter. Again, make sure it doesn't back up. So it goes up the ascending colon, through the transverse colon, and into the descending colon. And right in here, well, you would find the sigmoid colon that kind of leads us into the rectum. Main job of the rectum, I guess, is to regulate the elimination of feces, and our anus is that final sphincter to kind of help us regulate when it is appropriate for us to go to the bathroom. Like I said, in the esophagus, peristalsis is what moves the food down, but peristalsis happens throughout the entire digestive system. Peristalsis is kind of just like a wavelength, I guess, wavelength motion that kind of pushes food down slowly. Peristalsis happens with the parasympathetic nervous system. That is our rest and digest nervous system. And then the one that controls peristalsis would be the mesenteric plexus, which kind of just is the one that speaks to us. Again, that's why I said mesentery is one of those organs that kind of supply nerve endings to our abdomen and keeps food able to move through our system. Thank you.